When I first started making games, I did not have much in terms of resources. No fancy tools, no huge budgets, and definitely no team. It was just me, my computer, and whatever I could scrape together. Back then, I didn't realize that being broke, having no money, was actually a blessing in disguise. At that time, I was too busy dreaming big and stressing over the money I didn't have to see it for what it really was: freedom. Today, I want to talk about the time before thinking and stressing over money. The time where I was purely driven by the fact that I could make games and I could finally tell the stories that I wanted to tell. I've been remembering that time, and it has been changing me, reminding me of what truly matters, why I started this in the first place, and that's what people want to experience. They want to experience you. They want to experience me. And the reality is, that's where true success lies in the end. Let me explain. When you start making games, there is this feeling of just pure excitement around the possibilities of what you could potentially bring to life. That's been living in your mind since whenever you conceived the idea. There was no thoughts about the marketability of it, no sales projections, or whether the game fits into a certain type of genre that's trending. You were just thinking about the worlds that you want to create, the stories that you want to tell. Back then, I didn't care about making money. I was just excited that I had finally found something where I could express what's been living in here all my life up until then. I just wanted to build something that was mine, something that came from me. And honestly, that is the core of game development, the passion to create with any external expectations. At the heart of every game that I had wanted to make was a story. Maybe that story wasn't always clear or fleshed out, but there was always something that I wanted to express: an emotion, a message, an experience. Experiences like that I had experienced when I was younger, or games that had shaped me in the past. That's why I wanted to start making games. I've mentioned that in previous videos, but in the context of this, that idea wasn't shackled by things that I think about today. That's why when I started making games, I wasn't thinking about how well it would sell. I mean, I'm sure it was in the back of my mind, but it wasn't at the forefront. And the funny thing is, that's what people want. They don't care about how polished or commercially successful your game is. What they care about is connecting with something real, something personal. And that connection, that's the real measure of success. Whether you can connect with people in a way that mattered to you in your growth experience, in any growth experience. But for me though, over time, it was so easy for me to lose sight of why I started making games in the first place, especially when money and deadlines and all these expectations that come seemingly out of nowhere. People put all these expectations on themselves, and a lot of times they're not put on yourself by anyone but yourself. But when I started thinking back to those early days, I realized something. Success wasn't about the money and the recognition. It was about the joy of creating something from scratch, creating something from my mind. That is where the joy came from. Not the money. We all want money. I want money. But the joy that I had at the beginning of this was not about the money. And I had forgotten what it felt like to work on a project without thinking about the end goal. I've been living in that now for quite some time, thinking about the end goal, thinking about what is this going to financially support me. I've been thinking about that for a long time, for too long, and I want to shift back into that original feeling. And now I am reminded that the true value is in the journey, in the process itself, and not just what comes after, not all the cash and the money. It's about the journey of expressing myself, and the whole reason I started this in the first place, to tell stories. I used to think that in order to succeed, my games had to be perfect, had to be stunning, and just break the bank as far as expectations go. But what I learned is that people don't play games for perfection. Think of a game like Lethal Company that just exploded at the beginning of 2024. That game was far from perfect. It's a game full of flaws. But that game came from the mind of that developer, and it changed so much. Now there's 10 games like it, and it changed the industry. What you bring to the table is what makes your game special. It's what makes my games special. It's what had made my games special. Not the end result, not all that money coming through. I would think that people want to see my story, whatever makes me me, and just letting my meanness shine through. Because the world has become so cookie cutter. and people want to experience human things. That's where the magic lies. And I had forgotten this. I have forgotten this secret bliss before money had gotten a hold of me. I've realized recently that the real success isn't measured by sales, downloads, or reviews. It's in the connections we make with the people that play our games. Even what I've been doing lately, I've really been focused on building a community lately. Streaming on Wednesdays and releasing videos and just building a community with my Discord. It's been fantastic, and it's unlocked just another thing in me that makes me want to share myself with others. And I think that maybe is why I've been thinking about that beginning part of development. You know, a lot of people, most people have not seen those games that I made when no one was watching, but those games meant so much to me because it was such a me thing to express. It was all me, you know? And not that I don't want to say that working on a team is not possible to express yourself. I'm just talking about the time before you worried about things that didn't matter as far as expressing yourself. I wish I would have realized sooner that me bringing myself to the table and bringing our humanness to the table is what truly invokes connection with others and meaningful relationships and ultimately success. Because if at the end of the day, you're making millions of dollars, but you're telling stories that you don't want to tell, you're doing things that you don't want to do, what's the point of doing it? You know, this life's too short. And obviously it's romanticized to say something like that. But the reality is that we all started game development for a reason. We all started game development to tell our stories, to express ourselves in the most unique way possible. And to dumb that down to just a dollar bill would be a disservice to the whole thing. And that's what I want to return to. That's what I want to return to. So yeah, I've been reflecting on this a ton lately, about what really matters, about why I started this in the first place, about how I feel about where I am at. It's not about making tons of money. I want money. I'm not a starving artist. I disagree with that. I want to make money and support myself in creating these things, but it's not about that. It's about staying true to the reason that I started this in the first place, the reason you started this in the first place, the stories we want to share, the experiences we want to use to connect with others. That's what it's about. I've just been thinking about this lately, and it's been on my heart. So I wanted to share that with everybody, and I hope it means something to you guys, because it's been meaning a lot to me. And remember that feeling of when you started. Remember that feeling of bliss when you first started games, because reality sets in with money and all that jazz, and it gets confusing. So stay focused on what really matters. Thank you guys for being here. Leave a comment below as to what you felt like when you first started this journey. Remember that bliss and share below. Join us on the Discord. We're talking all the time. Join us on Wednesdays. We just hang out and chill. It's fantastic. Hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment below. I can't wait to read them all. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you next time.